It's another episode of the BM Show. The BM Show where we just don't know anything at all, but we pretend we do. So take a BM while you take a poo.
Whoop-de-whoop.
Whoop-de-whoop. So what we were saying, what we were talking about, just before we started, realized we should be recording this, is Ben has a confession to make about the purchase that he actually did. And I'm not talking about the thing that you put the SD card into that you purchased recently. I'm talking about the thing you purchased when you had the money and decided, well, I might as well go ahead and pay for this since I've been using it.
Oh. Yeah, this one here. They had a party over at the WinRare headquarters because somebody actually went ahead and bought the license. I think there's less people who have bought the WinRare license than have been president of the United States.
I think that there have been less people that have bought the license to that than have been able to fit in a car that fits one person. Except for
yes.
you.
I went and I did this years ago. I bought the WinRare license. So I'm the only person that you know that owns a legal copy of WinRare.
I can see them at WinRare headquarters like, okay, can we pull up the list of subscribers that we have?
One.
Yeah, Ben. And who else? Ben. That's it. We just got
It's
Ben.
not really a subscription. It's a perpetual license that covers all future upgrades.
What kind of upgrades do you need for it? Did it open it? Did it not open it?
There's different versions of Windows, so they have to have a new version every time a new version of Windows comes out.
But you can just go and download it.
Not really. They haven't updated it in years, but they should. They should have a new version every time Windows comes out.
Yeah, the thing is that you can just go download the new version. So I guess how much? Do you remember how much you paid for it?
I think $30.
$30. So now you have the satisfaction to know you don't have to. Every time you Google or every time you get a new computer, you don't have to Google WinRAR and then re-download it. And that's pretty much it.
And here's the beauty part. I don't even use WinRAR. I use 7-zip. And I was using 7-zip when I bought the license too. I literally this literally was guilt. I was like, I used WinRAR for 20 years and I never paid for it.
Wow.
So, I mean, that was also the same week I went and I bought a license for Make MKV, but that one, I will admit, that one is very convenient because Make MKV, you have to re-download it every 30 days. Where if you buy the license, you don't have to do that.
I've never had to. Well, I guess I don't have MKV. I was thinking VLC when you said that, which is another license that I haven't bought.
VLC doesn't have a license.
That's why I haven't bought it.
Doesn't I think, but the VLC for Macs kind of sucks. But for Windows, it's the only media player you need. Outside of it could do Blu-ray if you hack it, kind of, but I wouldn't really say it has Blu-ray support. I don't consider it to have Blu-ray support, but for Blu-ray you have to go and buy like some Chinese branded it's not Lenovo, but it sounds like that. It's like Loawa or some crap. Mm-hmm. And I just don't trust it.
Uh-huh.
And I also have like Blu-ray players galore. So what I do is if I want to have the Blu-ray on my computer, well, number one, I have to rip it anyways, which that software does not do, but Make MKV does. Make MKV will rip pretty much anything. If you get an older copy of it, you could even use it to rip HD DVDs, but you need like one that's like a couple years old.
Yeah, gotcha.
Which is always what like people. I was watching. There's this. I think she's German. She's got blue hair. She wears a baseball cap, and she's pretty well blessed upstairs, if you know what I mean. And she was talking about HD DVD, the format war between HD DVD and Blu-ray. I've only seen like a million videos about this topic, and She was talking about. Oh shit! I lost my train of thought, but I was talking about her.
Well, I'm just trying to figure out. Well, blessed upstairs. So I guess what you're trying to say is she has done a lot of good acts that she hasn't, shared what she's done. So she has many riches in heaven. When you say she's well blessed upstairs, is that right?
Yes. That
Okay,
has nothing to do with anything else.
exactly.
Yeah.
So just Google German Smurf with baseball cap blessed upstairs, and you got her. And I think you're doing that right now, I'm assuming.
No, I'm drinking some water. I'm
Gotcha.
holding off a headache that I feel coming. Yeah. So license fees. That's what I was talking about.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. She was talking about HD DVDs, and she was trying to figure out how to rip it. And I'm like, well, yeah, as long as you have an older copy of Make MKV, you can rip it. But eventually they took the functionality out because it's kind of like was probably making the software more complicated than it needed to be, is my assumption.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and also like who's using it, because HD DVDs just suck. There's nothing that's exclusive on it. It's one of the deadest formats. Like, you can go say, oh, nobody uses VHS anymore. There's still thousands of VHSs that have never been released in any other format.
Wasn't the HD DVDs though? Wasn't that used by like Xbox 360?
Yeah. They had a little drive that looked like a miniature Xbox. It was like the Xbox's little brother.
So there you go. So people still play their 360, still use HD DVDs.
No, because the software was there was no software on it. It was only the movies.
Okay.
So you still needed like multiple discs to play some of those games. Like there's like any good RPG on the Xbox 360, you needed like a ton of discs for. Just like it was like how the PlayStation got, where all of a sudden you got like Final Fantasy VIII was on 4 discs.
Yeah.
You were dealing with something similar to that. There were games like that on the Xbox 360, except these were all DVDs, where you get the same game over on PlayStation 3 and it's 1 disc.
I often wonder, like, when you get in that situation where, like, say, Final Fantasy IX, okay, where they go. So after that event, why don't we have the party go here and here? And what would that put us at? We're at 5 discs now. Ooh, yeah, we're gonna need to cut some material.
All the disc is mostly just all the full motion video. The whole game is on every single one of the discs. It's just the full motion video is usually the difference. Once in a while, like if there's a huge map, they'll split it up among the discs. But most of those games, that's why you can go back to almost to the beginning of the game at any point. In most of them, I have to put that disclaimer. In most of them, there's some of them that are not like that.
Well, there's actually, when you bring that up, and Dreamcast had their own with GD-ROM, which was its own, like, no one uses that except for Dreamcast. And they had a game on there where even if you ripped the game, it was still too big for an emulator to understand it. Even if you ripped it, like, I think if you even ripped it a GD-ROM format, or maybe I'm wrong there, but to where disc 3 had to be disc 3 part A and disc 3 part B. So you get to this point where it would actually force you to put in the next disc, even though normally you wouldn't do that. And then if you tried to go back, I think it crashed the whole system.
Yeah, you had people like doing some serious hacking. We're gonna go and like figure out like how am I gonna fit this large game on there. Like I remember having a Dreamcast, and yeah, it was like that was the part where you can get all these copied games.
Yeah.
And then you have like a CD burner, so you can just go ahead and download it. Like I had a Dreamcast because I had a Dreamcast like I think like 15 years ago, which 20 years ago. Like it was already out. Like it was already out and dead. Like it wasn't even like a blip at the time. So like 15 years ago, I had one. And
that's crazy because 15. I have a Dreamcast about 15 inches from me.
And I had I basically bought it to play Shenmue because I heard so much about Shenmue. So it has to be 15 sounds like a good number because I was hearing about it from with a GameStack was like addicted to Shenmue. And I was watching other YouTube channels where they were talking about how great Shenmue was, and I'm like, well, I want to play Shenmue. So maybe even 15 might even be too long ago, but fuck the timeline. It was years ago, is the point. I bought it, and I tried to, I bought it with a copy of Shenmue, but then like I decided to go into downloading rips, and I had Shenmue 2. And like all the like Marvel versus Capcom, all the big titles, because I didn't have a Dreamcast. So I'm like looking at these ROM sites. I'm like, okay, what's in the top 10? Because I don't know which one.
Well, you're probably more like the Dreamcast came out 25 years ago, 1999, in September 9/9/99. Never gonna forget that one.
Yeah, no, I remember that too.
So.
Yeah, I remember my buddy Steve had it, and I borrowed his for like a couple weeks, and that's when I played Soul Reaver. And that I really liked it. That was the only game I did played that in Crazy Taxi. Dreamcast was the Crazy Taxi machine. So I was talking about this. Okay, so this is going to be a Ben does it so you don't have to.
Yes, it is. After you explained it to me, it definitely is.
Do you know what I'm going to be talking about?
I think I do know what you're talking about. It's what we started talking about initially, right?
The thing I bought?
Yes, exactly. That is definitely Ben does it so you don't have to, because Mike's going to tell you how to do it better.
Okay. Well, first.
Wait, hold on. We got to, evidently, since we're doing this tangent into this little segment, we got to do, so it sucks or it's something that you don't want to do. Well, guess what? Boom, boom. Ben does it so you don't have to.
I like the boom, boom.
You got to get the boom. There's always room for boom, boom.
Always room for boom, boom. I went to Intercourse, Pennsylvania, and they have mugs that say, I love Intercourse.
Yep. And it's the other people's fault when they see it and they think wrong.
And they also sell whoopie pies, and they have signs that say, we love making whoopie.
Okay, so now they're pushing it.
No, they're pushing it. These crazy Amish people.
Okay, let's see what Ben did that you don't have to.
Okay, so all right. I don't know if anybody has ever seen, it's called Macho Nacho. It's a channel on YouTube. It's this guy Tito, and he does a show on the Macho Nacho channel where it's called Retro Renew. And it's usually about like old consoles, and like he did one where he like turned the PlayStation 2 into like pretty much a modern day system. But he was talking about in one of them this memory card adapter that allows you to use an SD card through the memory card slot. And why you would want to do that is because the memory card slot is the fastest port on the PlayStation 2 besides the network port. So it's like this, other than like getting a Raspberry Pi Zero and a whole nother setup, the load games through network is the quickest way to do it. And I got my brain going like, well, there's a lot of games on PlayStation 2 I never really got a chance to play. And when it comes to older consoles, my moral fabric on theft is more flexible. Because like these games aren't available anyways, and nobody's like, the publisher already made their money. So I'm like, maybe I'll look into this. And my birthday came up, and I'm like, I go to I start shopping around, and I actually find the best deal on DK Oldies. This is okay. So people, if you don't know who DK Oldies is, they're
Donkey Kong.
What's that?
We all know DK as Donkey Kong.
Yeah, DK Oldies is not affiliated with Nintendo. DK Oldies.
Are you sure? Because I'm sure by listening to by the N64, it taught me DK Donkey Kong. Because if you want some, you ain't got none, or something like that.
If the email blast that they sent, by the way, these people, that's my one big complaint about DK Oldies. Once you're on their mailing list, oh my God, they do not leave you alone. I had to unsubscribe to everything that they had.
Wow.
But if by their email list they kept calling me BC, if that's any indication of how these people, how this place is named, DK is the initials of the guy who owns the place, is my guess. And it's
I
all
just
these.
thought it meant you're really old, that you're born in BC time.
Yes, BC oldies.
Yes, that's you.
Yes, like a caveman.
So what was it like when you invented fire, Ben?
It was a sunny day. The birds were singing.
I bet the women were pretty hot, right?
They were very hairy.
That's pretty scary. Okay, let's go back to our story.
Okay. So DK Oldies is an online gaming store. Basically, they deal in retro stuff, which is why I think their Oldies is in their name. And they get a lot of heat online. If you go on TikTok, you can look them up on TikTok or look them up on Instagram. You'll see this guy Joey is usually their spokesperson, and people think he owns it. He's just one of the salesmen, and he's always doing these videos where he's like saying, "Oh, so and so made an order," and they'll actually show him as he goes through the process of filling the order. And they're cute sometimes, but usually they're just mostly just there to sell the company. They throw a lot into promotion. Basically, once I had stuff in a shopping cart there, all of a sudden I saw DK Oldie ads everywhere on all my social media. And also, while I was sitting in the cart, they kept reminding me I have something in my cart. And I wanted to effing kill them for that. I hate that.
So what you're saying is basically they are stalkers.
Yeah, like reach out to me once. And after some time, do not pull this shit where, oh, I see you left this in your cart. Hey, did you know you left something in your cart? Hey, you left something in your cart. Like, okay, Shaggy, I'm gonna beat the shit out of you.
I was just washing my hair and I saw someone went to our site and I thought it was you. So if that was you, please finish up what you purchased.
It's like the chick from Audition waiting by the phone. They're just waiting for me to call. But the thing is, I looked at all the other prices and they had the best price, and I bought it from them.
I'm sorry, I gotta stop you because all of a sudden I just thought we said DK.
Yes, DK. So I ended up buying it from them. It shipped really fast. It got here in like 2 days. I bought is supposed to be in acceptable condition, so I'm expecting scuff marks and all this stuff. The top part is perfect. The bottom is kind of beat to shit. But who's going to look at the bottom? I don't care what the bottom looks like. So I was happy about that. And then I have nothing to play on this thing. So I go over to my local game store, which is Game Exchange, and I end up buying a PlayStation 1 game, a PlayStation 2 game, and a memory card for PlayStation 1 and a PlayStation 2 memory card. This way I can cover the whole thing and test this thing out.
Yeah.
And everything works. Everything works beautifully. I got a controller adapter. It allows me to use Bluetooth controllers on it. I got this memory card reader thing that came in the mail literally on the same day as I got as the same day that the controller adapter came in, so I was able to so I was able to use, like I said, I'm using a PlayStation 5 controller with it. Yeah. And I have games loaded on it. It's compatible with most of the games that they put on there, but some of them it does have problems. There's a compatibility list that I haven't looked at. I've been just kind of like just winging it. And then the one issue I was having is the video output. I had the component cables that came with it. Now I have one of the retro tanks. Like, remember, I got you. I bought you that retro tank. I have one myself, and I was using that, and it was okay. It wasn't horrible, but it was still kind of eh. So I ordered one from Level Hike, and they made one that's just for the PlayStation 2, and what that for the PlayStation 1 or the PlayStation 2, and that does takes the component cables and bumps that to HDMI. Now it doesn't do digital component, so it won't do progressive scan, but it does analog component, which is still better than nothing. To do one with progressive scan, then I have to go and do like a whole $500 setup for that. And this thing was $30.
Yeah.
So for $30, totally worth it.
Gotcha.
I think. This whole thing wrapped up $250. And you say, well, that's a lot of money to spend on a PlayStation 2. And it is. But it's going to be compatible with a lot of the games, and I'll find ways of getting PlayStation 1 games maybe working on it, though, even though that's kind of a rigmarole in its own.
So Ben,
yo,
we established that you're an S-class superstar in Crazy Taxi. How is it running Crazy Taxi on the PS2?
Oh, that's interesting that you bring that up, Michael. That's almost like we talked about this ahead of time.
Yes.
I can't get. I'm working on this. I can't get Crazy Taxi to work on this, and that was the thing that finally got me to go and pull the trigger on this, because I was like, well, how do I play Crazy Taxi with the original soundtrack, and it's only available on these systems, and PlayStation 2 being one of them. So I'm like, okay, well, I was thinking about getting a PlayStation 2 anyway, so let me go ahead and do that. Crazy Taxi was sold out at DK Oldies, so I didn't throw it on the order. And I couldn't find it over at Game Exchange, so I ended up getting Grand Theft Auto 3, because at least I know I like that game. And I downloaded Crazy Taxi, but because it's a bin file, it doesn't work. It has to be an ISO. So now I have to, so I do have the bin file. I just have to still convert it over to being an ISO. But then I will gladly tell you then, Mike, how fun it is to play.
Wonderful. I'm looking forward to the experience where.
Yeah.
So,
I thought I was downloading the Simpsons version of it, because I downloaded Simpsons Hit and Run, but Simpsons Hit and Run is apparently their version of Grand Theft Auto.
Gotcha. Okay.
Because I wanted to pull. What was the Simpsons taxi game called? I forgot.
I have no idea. So I do want to say, though, the better way to go with this is not to go with the slim PS2, but to go with a fat PS2, one that has a network adapter that uses a SATA connector inside of it, and just boom, plug your hard drive right into the inside of the PS2, right through that SATA drive. Then get the free McBoot memory card, or get a memory card with free McBoot loaded on it. I mean, you could do the free McBoot yourself, but there's no point. You can just get like those. I think last time I saw they're like $10 for a memory card on eBay that will give you free McBoot. But
yeah,
maybe more now, but I don't know.
Free McBoot is like, you watch some of these people talk about how to make free McBoot, and it's like, I guess it's making your first one's the hardest, because once you make one, you can like just start making a ton of them and sell them on eBay, because that's what people do.
Yeah.
Which is also a side hustle that I do think of. Free McBoot, what that does, besides sounding like it's Scottish or Irish or something.
I agree.
It is free McBoot allows you to unlock the full potential of the PlayStation. It's apparently whatever's plugged into the first memory card slot, I guess the PlayStation looks there for something. I think it's because your configuration file goes in there for older PlayStations, so they found a way to make it so they can use that as a way to hack into it. Is the only way I can think of how this free McBoot works, because you stick the memory card in and it just works. There's no you don't have to solder a wire or cut this trace or put a chip in or nothing. And if you want to get rid of it, you take the memory card out, and all of a sudden you got a stock PlayStation 2 again.
Yeah, exactly.
So if the president of Sony ever comes over for dinner, you take the memory card out and say, yeah, here you go, Mr. Yakashuki, or whatever your name is. The beautiful PlayStation 2.
I'd be like, hey, look what they did to your system. Now, what are you going to do about it? see, for me, free McBoot, I think, can I get a Big Mac, medium fries, M&M McFlurry, and a free McBoot? Yeah, lassie, pull around to the first window and I'll give you a butt kicking you won't forget. And you know what? I am freaking, I guess, part Scottish. I can't even do the accent.
Jeez. Yeah, that was pretty bad.
I'm like part Irish, part Scottish, and I don't even sound like either of them.
My sister said it best. She says, "I'm half German, half French, and half English. Oh, half German, half French, and half Polish." That's what it was.
Yes, exactly. That's the way to go.
That is the way.
So we should probably get into something that we got to get into here because today is going to be a Watch Us Die, isn't it?
Yes, I'm actually charging my Xbox controller right now to make sure that I don't go dead in the middle of gaming, because I tend to forget to charge my controllers, and they're always dead when I need to use them.
That's fine, because we got something that we have to go over really quick.
Okay.
So you got a little bit of time. So now we're going to go from one segment of the show to another segment of the show. And that would be, what genre do you like? What do you want to play? Let me help you save on what you got to pay. So let's talk about deals for this week. What you're going to see free, and then a couple other things that popped up this week that may be of interest to you. So we're going to go ahead and start. Let me share my screen here, and we're going to talk about the first one, which is going to be Epic Game Store. And what's free this week on Epic Game Store would be this game here, which is Escape Academy, which is obviously put the cone on your head game. But it looks like it's a puzzle game, completely free, usually $20. Coming up next week, as of Thursday this week, it looks like they are saying that the next free game is going to be this one here, Behind the Frame, The Finest Scenery. Right now it's $13. Don't waste your money. Hold out. Be patient. And you'll have it for free starting on Thursday. But of course, you might want to get Escape Academy before that one goes away. So for Prime Gaming this week, there were actually 3 games that popped up. First one is this game here, Grip, which I actually owned on Steam. I also picked it up on GOG because just in case, because I'm going to have my friends get it and we're going to see how it goes as far as playing together. And this is going to be a racing game that's very similar to Roll Cage, if you remember Roll Cage on the PS1. And this is actually a really good game. There's also what's free is this game here, SteamWorld Quest, Hand of the Gilgamesh, which is a role-playing adventure indie turn-based action, fighter, sports. When they have that many genres, I start questioning, like, dude, keep it simple sometimes. But, it might be something you may dig. And then also we got one that's going to be one that Ben cannot handle, which is Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader? Which we probably will all fail. So there we got a trivia, puzzle solving, use your brain type of game if you're into actually using your brain when you play games. Most people aren't. So hopefully some of those might be something you may enjoy. Now on the you have to pay for it. Would you have something to say, Ben?
Brain,
yes, brain. All right, so on the you have to pay for it side of everything, Fanatical has come out with a couple bundles. The Build Your Own Slayer bundle, which is purchase 3 games for $5. Or you can purchase more and they'll actually be cheaper. So if you see anything on this list that you want, I mean, technically, these games, if you look at the price of them, the majority of them are over $5. So if you see a game that you want on here, buy it and get 2 throwaway games and move on with it. And, sometimes the throwaway games actually become really good games. Case in point, I got Dust Diver as a throwaway game on one of the Fanatical deals, and the game I got it with, I put maybe an hour in, but like Dust Diver, I ended up putting like 20 hours into, and then I got the second one and put 40 hours in that one. So, sometimes those throwaway games come out to be pretty good. Another bundle that they have going is the Explosive bundle, which is the same game, the same deal, 3 games for $5. So if you see anything here, like, you know, Wolfenstein, Quake, a couple well-known names there, then this might be to your liking. So head on over to Fanatical if you want to pick up any of those. Humble Bundle has put out a bundle, which is a motorsports bundle, which is if you pay $16, you get all 12 of these items. And keep in mind, when you go to the site, it defaults you to a higher amount. So you can actually click down to 16 and nothing will change. If you go any lower, which you can do, $9, $5, and $1, it'll modify how much you get. So this is 12 titles. With 9, you'll go down to just these 9. 5, you'll have just these 5. And then for $1, you can get the Truck Racer, which is not anything like Big Rigs, I'm told. So if you're into motorsports, if you're into racing, that might be something to look into. $16, you got 12 games, and I'm sure one will be something that you'll put some time into. Now, a shocker here is that Indie Gala jumped into the bundle deal as well, too, which I've never seen them do bundles, so maybe they've been doing it for a while, and I don't know, because honestly, I'm not a big Indie Gala connoisseur, but they put out just recently this Holy Moly bundle, which is $6.49, and you get this bundle of Steam keys right here, which actually I got Lost Castle for free, and it's not a bad game. Now, a couple things that I do want to show that are free that I forgot to talk about when we were talking about the free games on the first episode. There's a series called Momodora. And Momodora is up to, I believe, its 5th game in the series now. The last few have been just, they're more expensive, but they are definite bangers if you like Castlevania style, or maybe I should say Metroidvania style. So what you can do is you can actually Google, here is Momodora 1, which I do want to point out that even on this page, it does say this is from the creator. It was also the first game project I completed, so it's very rough, put together, and really unpolished. I advise you play the sequels instead. Now, when the creator says that, that's usually something you want to listen to, but you can get this for free. It is balls to the walls hard. I haven't finished it. I got about 75% through it before I just realized there's just a whole bunch of chaos going on the screen for me, and too close quarters to even dodge. So I kind of tossed it to the curb. But for what I got out of it, it was an interesting experience for being free. But then there's also Momodora 2, which is also free as well, which Momodora 2 is actually a good game. It's a Metroidvania style, but if you're really serious about it, you could beat it in like an hour or so, or maybe even less than that. But it's worth it for free. So that's all there is for this week. Tune in next week and we'll see what's coming up free there. Also, next week, I'm going to prove to you that I evidently am a liar. Because, and I'm going to stop sharing for a second here, because next week, we are going to talk about something that I told you I wouldn't really talk about. And so that makes me a liar. Now, I'm not going to tell you what it is, but I am going to give you a hint. So we're going to talk about a way to get free games somewhere else. And I'm sure looking at your screen, it's a big mystery to you.
Well, who could it be?
Yeah. So that's what we have for our, saving money where you can show with me. I don't remember what I just called this, but you know what? You all know what's going down. So Matt, I'm Matt. Well, oh my gosh, dude! I don't know why I just called you Matt. Matt's in outer space.
I don't know why you would call me that.
So Ben, you wanted to know some PS2 games to look into?
Yeah.
Okay. You got a pen and paper ready?
No.
And by pen and paper, I mean notepad and your keyboard ready.
No.
Okay.
I'm playing around the Portal 2 right now.
Okay. So just to give you some suggestions, Dot Hack series, all 8 discs of them. GU be careful with, but definitely look into Dot Hacks. Castlevania has Lament of Innocence, which isn't very good. Curse of Darkness is actually pretty good. There's Trapped, which is technically Deception 4. I don't know if you ever played anything in the Deception series, but I really like the Deception series. Dragon Quest VIII was my return back to the Dragon Quest series. So that's on PS2. Final Fantasy X, you said you have, right?
Final Fantasy X, yes.
Did you get the international version?
No.
Look for the international version. The international version it adds some to it, like the Dark Aeons, but it also adds the Advanced Sphere Grid if you want to use that, which is where everyone starts in the middle of the grid and you can choose which way you want them to go. So you could technically make Arin like the White Wizard, and you can make Yuna take her down Wakka's path. So you can do kind of whatever you want. Also, there's Dirge of Cerberus, Final Fantasy VII, which gets a bad rap. I'm not going to say it's a good game, but it still gets a bad rap. So you may want to check that one out. Half-Life, I know you played Half-Life probably to death, but Half-Life, the PlayStation 2 version, is really the only way, apart from like fan mods, which you can do on Steam, but where you can do Half-Life your Half-Life Decay. You mentioned Legacy of Kain. Legacy of Kain has Soul Reaver 2, Blood Omen 2, and Defiance on PlayStation. Let's see what Resident Evil Code Veronica X, I believe, is on there. Let's see what else. If you get into the SMT series, you've got Digital Devil Saga, which is completely stuck on PlayStation 2. Hasn't gone anywhere else. There's 2 parts to it. If you get Persona 3, go for Persona 3 FES, because that's going to have Persona 3 plus the bonus stuff on it. Of course, there's Persona 4. There's the 2 SMT Devil Summoner games. Spy Hunter. I don't know if you've ever played Spy Hunter on PS2. It's a lot different than the arcade, but it's still actually a pretty fun game. You could do Street Fighter EX3, which is one of the lowest ranked in my books, but it's an interesting game. And if you get a chance to go see, like Matt McMuscles did a video years ago about playing Street Fighter EX3. If you haven't seen it, that's one to check out. Then you could do Twisted Metal Black. The Wipeout games, if you get into AG Racers. And then there's a whole series of the Xenosaga games, if you like Xenosaga. So there's some recommendations for you.
So Dot Hack, huh?
Dot Hack, Dot Hack, the very first ones, they're just Dot Hack. There's 4 in the series. There's 4 games in the series, and it carries over to each one. And you can also just transfer your save file to each one. That game was Dot Crack for me. No, it really was, man. That's the game that got me into soundtracks for games, and also I was watching the anime and everything. Dot Hack GU is a little rougher because you're literally going to, when you meet your main character, you're literally going to want to punch him in the face and then bulldoze him over with a steamroller in Ken style, because he is so absolutely annoying. But it gets better as you get into it.
Okay, I'm looking at it, and we have, so there's .hack GU. That's not what you mean.
GU is the one where you're going to want to Ken the main character.
Okay, so I see a .hack Part 1 infection.
That's the series. Yeah, there's infection, mutation, constipation, and alliteration or something like that.
Okay, so I have one that says bonus Lamility Volume 1 Case of My Menace.
Okay, so this is something interesting. So .hack came with a bonus disc. Each one of the volumes came with a bonus disc that was just an anime telling the story of the real world of .hack. See, .hack is mimicking online gaming, and it mimics it very well.
Okay.
So it's like playing an MMO RPG without going MMO on it.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, it's interesting.
I'm downloading the first one, and if I like the first one, then I'll do other ones. I don't want to. Yeah. Until I get that terabyte card, I only have so much room.
Understood. So, but yeah, you'll be able to at the end save your game, and then when you load up the second game, it'll let you load that save game and transfer all your stats and everything over to the second one. Or you could actually just jump into the second one, and I think it may like put you like on the, I don't know, lowest level you could be in that game or something like that and still survive. But it's actually what's interesting about the .hack series, that it's a grinder's paradise in a way, because the way it works is you put in these code words, which some can be interesting. Like you'll get code words as you go along. Like you'll get like hidden, or your next code word will be holy ground, and you put in these 3-part code words. And people have gotten creative with them, like bursting her fort walls. And what it does is it randomly generates an area based off of those code words and the level for that area. And if you are under the level that you're going into, you'll get more experience that way. So you could literally just grind using an area that's a few levels above you, and if you do well enough in it, you'll earn another code word, and then use that, and it'll give you a level that's a few levels now above you, and grind all the way up to your max level on the disc, and then just plow through the game. That's basically how I did GU. So
cool. Yeah, there's a lot of games for PlayStation 2. I mean, it was the #1 selling game console of all time, so you can imagine how many games that came out for it. Because it's,
ironically, it was. It's not anymore.
The Switch beat it out.
Switch has now beat it out. Yeah, as of I think it was a few weeks ago.
So all this hype about the Switch 2 announcement. Did you watch the Switch 2 announcement?
No, I didn't. Every time I see something about the Switch 2, it's like, we've got leaked photos of what the Switch 2 is going to be, and then they put a picture of the Switch, and like, we don't know if we can post these, or we don't really have the photos. And I'm like, well, then you're just wasting internet space.
No, because Nintendo made an official announcement about it. It's actually going, which is what I'm the most surprised. What I'm very surprised about is they're calling it the Switch 2. Nintendo's never done a direct sequel like this before. I mean, they had Super Nintendo, Nintendo 64. I get that, but I'm like, it wasn't Nintendo 2. It wasn't Nintendo 3. You know, it was. So that's kind of new to me, but
it's a shame that they didn't do that when they brought out the Wii U. That would have been perfect to call the Wii 2, because it's so similar to the Wii. And if it would have been in Japan, they would have called it the Wii Knee.
So the Joy-Cons are it's going to have a bigger screen. I think it's going to be OLED off the bat instead of having a OLED version. The Joy-Cons will click in using magnets. And it's supposed to be backwards compatible, not 100% because it doesn't work with the Labo stuff. I'm assuming this is an assumption that it's not going to work with Labo stuff, but maybe it will. Maybe it's incompatible because of licensing rights, which is usually a big culprit, and when it comes to backwards compatibility. So that's going to be coming out at some point, probably for Christmas. Or before Christmas, I don't know. Nintendo releases systems at all times of the year. It doesn't really make any sense when their systems come out.
I thought it was supposed to be shooting for like May or something like that.
Maybe it is shooting for May. I know that they're going to start touring the country with it in April. So they're actually going to have it where you can, like, they'll have like events throughout the country where you can go check out the Switch 2. And I'm like, it's an upgraded Switch. Everybody's expecting this amazing thing. It's like it's going to be the same system they already have, just a newer version of it.
Isn't it supposed to be like a lot more powerful though? Like getting closer to PlayStation 5 and Xbox?
They didn't tell anybody anything. All they did was they showed a couple of minutes of they're doing a new Mario Kart apparently, and everybody's already calling it Mario Kart 9 when it might just be an upgraded Mario Kart 8.
Yeah.
I mean, Nintendo's never been shy on milking shit.
Exactly.
I'm looking at it this way. If you have a Switch already and you have a Switch library, upgrading to this is very, very easy to do because it's going to take all the software you already have and work with it. So even if you buy it, if you're a teenager and you're listening to this, what is wrong with you? Why are you listening to this show? There's so many better programs for you out there. That aside, if you're listening to us and you're a teenager and you're scraping your money together for this game console, you will not be screwed over knowing that because you know that you have games to play on it already. You're not going to be like stuck with a system with nothing to do with it.
In theory, because you know Nintendo, they're going to be like, well, yeah, you bought this other system, but this is the virtual version of it, so $5.
Well, here's the thing: is like. Linus Tech Tips was Linus from Linus Tech Tips. He did a video just reacting to the launch video, and it was like, imagine like they're gonna go and do all these enhancements and all this other stuff like Xbox does. I'm like, this is Nintendo. They're not gonna do any of that.
Yeah.
They won't do any of that. Nintendo, whenever they do a handheld system, other than the Switch is the first time that they broke this tradition. It's always been a tradition that their handheld systems are always one generation behind backwards compatible. And the Switch didn't do it because the DS was a whole different animal. But so that's all they're going to do. It's just going to older games are going to work. They're not going to look better. They're going to perform a little bit better because it's going to be a newer processor, and the newer processor will pick up a lot of the slack. But it's not going to be, oh my God, I can't believe this is the same game. Look what they did. It looks so amazing. Nothing like that is going to happen. It's going to be Mario Odyssey will look like Mario Odyssey. It's not going to be in 4K all of a sudden. It might work in 1080p when it's in handheld mode. That might be the only real benefit. It might be games that are 720p in handheld mode will not be able to run in 1080p in handheld mode. But yeah,
I'm kind of fine with that. I'm actually glad they're not upgrading it because I don't know. It just I like the old style, and it's like the whole Star Wars thing, where they upgraded it and then added all that stuff, and people are like, well, I just want the original version. Well, haha, you can't get it anymore. Sometimes the original version's better.
Some people, so I guess some people are expecting that they're going to get like new texture packs and stuff. I'm like, no, you're not going to see anything. They're not going to upgrade any of this. It's all going to be if it's going to play better because it's on a better piece of hardware, and that's it. That's it. It's like if you went and played a 30-year-old computer game, it'll play really well because you have a 30-year-old newer computer. But it's still going to be the same game.
Which is great because, if you go back to like the Super NES games, the style that they did those in, that still holds.
Yeah. Well, like if you go and you play these games now on an emulator, it will play better. Like it will play like Nintendo games, for instance. You always had these games with the flickering and the slowdown. You play it on an emulator today. No, none of those games have any of that slowdown anymore. And you can even turn the flickering off. There's options for that. So you could play a flicker-free version of the game better than ever played on Nintendo. You could play it where you can have save states anytime you want. It has a built-in game genie. You know, all these extra features that were never available on the original console. So, yeah, that's all you're going to get with a Switch 2, is you're going to get as if you were emulating it on a computer that was more powerful than the Nintendo Switch was.
It's kind of disappointing, though, if you think about it then, because you don't have that slowdown that the actual system had, because there's so many things going on screen that, like, now you get all those guys on the screen, you're used to the slowdown, you're like, oh, crap, this just got real. Because now you got to do it in real time.
But, dude, you don't have to buy a Switch 2.
Yeah, true.
But I'm telling you, it's a very low entry point. It's very smart on Nintendo. So, like, my boss's kid, he's like 14 years old, right? He's got a Switch. This kid, I'm sure he does some stuff here and there for money. I'm sure he has an allowance, and he gets money for birthdays and Christmas and whatever. If he wants to Switch 2, his barrier of entry is so much lower because now all he has to do is just find the best possible deal on his current Switch. And sell that, use that money, and maybe get rid of one or two games you don't really play, and put that towards it. And all of a sudden now, instead of having to pay $400, it's probably $300. I'm not sure what the price is, but let's say it's $300. Instead of $300, you're going to be paying maybe $120 something, which is a lot easier to obtain.
Yeah, I'm just wondering now, like, if the Switch 2 is coming out, a lot of people are going to be playing or going to be selling their Switch.
The market's going to get flooded with Switches.
Oh yeah, and a lot of them may be hackable Switches, so the price for the hackable Switch might just drop pretty heavily because of it.
And as soon as they drop support for it, all of a sudden hacking will become even easier to do.
Oh yeah,
and it'll become like how I'm playing a hack PlayStation 2 right now, where it's a soft hack.
Yeah.
Like, there's no soft hack really for the Switch yet, right?
There is, but you have to use, like, the original first run or something of the Switches.
Is that the one where you use the paperclip and you, like, short out, like...
I think so.
Yeah. That has to do with, like, I think that had to do with, like, that was a way of servicing it. You put it tricks it into servicing mode. Is you literally short out one of the connections on one of the for one of the Joy-Cons, and it puts the system in the service mode. It's the same thing with the Pandora battery on PSPs.
Yeah.
So
I remember the Pandora battery.
My manager at GameStop, he doesn't work there anymore, so I'm not ruining his career. My manager at GameStop had the Pandora battery. So that was one of the benefits of working for him, is that if you had a PSP, he would set you up. So he set up everybody who had. We all bought PSPs just for that.
Crazy. I never had a Pandora battery because I got into the PSP prior to the need for the Pandora battery.
The Pandora...
super easy to... When you had... 1.5, man, that thing was super easy to hack. You didn't have to do anything.
Yeah. No, I had the second revision of it, and I ended up using the PSP more as a music player than anything else. I barely played games on it. So
the PSP helped me complete one of my dreams that I always wanted to do.
Is that beating some game on the toilet?
Yep, playing World 1-1 of Super Mario Brothers on the toilet. Ever since I was a kid, I always thought about bringing the TV and the Nintendo into the bathroom and hooking it up. For that one time, I had to take just a massive grumpy and just, boom, knock off World 1-1.
We're planning to get LED walls at the church this year. And when we get the LED wall in, I'll fulfill my dream of hooking up a Nintendo and playing the first world of Super Mario Brothers on a gigantic screen.
Nice.
And it'll be picture perfect because it'll have because those LED walls are really nice.
You gotta do it on the Mike Tyson's Punch Out screen. Do you remember the Mike Tyson's Punch Out commercial?
Oh yeah. Oh, you can play all of them. I'll bring my Apple TV there. My Apple TV, I got I got retro arch on it, so it's like all this stuff is on there.
Yeah. So I don't know if you've noticed or kept track, but we have been going for 55 minutes and we haven't even started Portal 2.
I'm wondering if I should even play it at all because I'm kind of tired.
I don't mind passing up on it. I'm not really in a big Portal 2 mode. However, I do want to mention that I was watching something earlier, which is like game theories, and one of the game theories, if you look at GLaDOS, it's modeled after a woman that's tied up, hanging upside down. So yeah, when you see, like, if you go back to Portal, just take an image of GLaDOS from Portal, and you can see like her head, and then like everything. And you could probably Google, GLaDOS woman hanging upside down or something, and probably see images of what people have created for it. And then also companion cubes. There's a theory that those were actually either living people inside of them or somehow.
I remember that one too. Yeah. No, I watched a lot. I used to watch a lot of game theory and all those theory channels, and then I think I'm probably not alone in this, but like after Matt Pat left, I haven't really been watching them because I don't know the new host, and it's like people think that like these shows you could just like take somebody out and replace them with somebody else, and it's not. It's a lot of this with the personality, especially on YouTube.
Yeah. So speaking of, we have good news that may be happening next episode. Ben and I will still be here, but we may have a surprise for you, and we're going to leave it at that. Something big may be happening.
Yes. And it's so big, but the people at the network, they won't let us talk about it. But I'm willing to talk about it on my hotline. So if you call me right now at 1-900-909-9900, it's $5 for the first minute and $2 each additional minute. Children, get your kids get your parents' permission before you dial, but call right now. That's 1-900-909-9900, 1-900-909-9900. Call today.
If you're VIP, what is going to happen next episode is going to be beamed to your brains by the end of the night.
Like when you're a wrestling fan in the 80s, you just have that phone number was like just driven into your head. 1-900-909-9900.
Dude, Nintendo Hotline, that was the one that I used to remember.
Yeah, they all had these hotlines. Yeah. There were hotlines you can call and get jokes. There was a whole episode of Full House where like the daughter was calling one of those 900 numbers, but they didn't call it 900. They called it one of those 558 numbers or something like that. They had some other name for it. And yeah, she was getting like jokes off the 900 number, and it was costing the family a fortune for these stupid jokes.
Dude, I don't know if you had this out there, but we had Multiple Mona. Multiple Mona. Okay, so do you have Popcorn Time?
The app?
No. Popcorn Time. It was way back in the 80s and 90s. It was a phone number you call and it'd be like, at the beep, the time will be 7:21.
Oh, I'm sure they had something like that. Yeah.
We had Multiple Mona, which was this lady that go, at the moan, the time will be 1:42. Oh! And shall we go for seconds?
There were phone numbers just to find out what movies were playing.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous. It was like they had ones for like everything there's a website for now. They're all websites now. So like the internet killed an entire industry. I don't think there's any 900 numbers left.
Yeah.
I went to school with a kid who had a 900 number, and all his number was is you would call and he would talk to you.
Sometimes that's all you need.
And I'm like, did people call that? Because
here's a question. You're asking if people would call to talk to somebody, but yet we're doing a show where we're just talking and people are listening.
Yeah, but they're not talking back to us. And it's like...
They may be talking back to us. They'd be like, you stupid idiot. The Switch 2 is going to be awesome.
The Switch 2 will be awesome. Part 3 of Legend of Zelda is going to come out for that. That's going to be the end of the trilogy of this open world Zelda thing that they've been doing. I guess if you got to stay on the phone while the person's talking to you and they get to pick the topic, I can see the appeal there. But if it's just like, it's like if are they calling to talk at you or talk to you? Because are you interesting enough for someone to want to talk to you and learn about you? Or if they're just going to call and say, hey, I'm having a hard day and I just need somebody to listen to me. Okay, because you know it's probably cheaper to call the 900 number than it is to go sit in somebody's couch in some office somewhere, you know.
Well, here's the thing is that I don't know if you've ever seen the movie what was it? It's a Will Smith movie, the Pursuit of Happiness.
The one where like he's poor and he's like living in the bathroom with his kid.
Yes, and he gets a job doing the stock exchange stuff, I think, based on a true story. One, and he has a scene where he's running to get to the interview, and he goes in, and I mean, he got arrested while he was painting, so he was still like in his painting gear, and they said, and this is the same situation with this 900 number. Think about it when you look at it, and they said, you know, well, what would people say if we hired you wearing a shirt like that? And his answer was back, he must have had a really nice pair of pants. So you don't know like how good this person probably is at talking to people to where it may be worth the money to those people.
Maybe.
So who knows?
Maybe it's like Stella, where she was giving away her phone number and she didn't give it out to anybody, but she's going to give it out in this program that's going to be watched by millions of people.
Stella?
Yeah, from the Sega Sega 32X infomercial.
Oh, okay.
Like,
okay.
If you stick around, fellas, I'm going to give out my phone number. I don't give my phone number out to just anybody. And I'm like, yeah, only to millions of people who watch this infomercial.
You know, and you know, I didn't get a chance to mention on that. They totally ripped off The Offspring.
Yeah.
They took the guitar part from Was It Come Out and Play and altered it a bit, but it still sounded 100% Offspring.
100% Offspring. That sounds like a cover band.
We're the offspring of the offspring.
We're 100% Offspring. We're an Offspring cover band. I hope you like our music. If you do, we have CDs in the back.
Dude, cover bands. Whenever I hear like there's a cover band, I cringe in a way, and it reminds me of this time that I went to a bar to see one of my buddy's bands, and this guy comes up to me because I was wearing a Dream Theater shirt, and he goes, "Dream Theater, don't expect us to sound anything like them." And I turned to him, and he was in the band that was going to go on before my buddies.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, "So tell me, what's your favorite AC/DC song?" And I'm like, "Oh, dude, I don't like AC/DC." And he goes, "Oh, you're gonna have a rough night." I didn't know what he meant, and then he get up there and go, "Yeah, we're so and so an AC/DC cover band." I just told the front man for the band that I don't have a favorite AC/DC song because I don't like AC/DC.
Well, you know, at least you're honest.
Yeah, well, you know.
And then afterwards, you see him, and you say, "Dude, you know, I told you I don't like AC/DC, but you guys were awesome."
Yeah.
And it's a huge compliment to him. It's like he liked this. He don't even like this music, and he thought we were good.
Yeah. I would see you guys instead of seeing AC/DC.
Yeah, to me, the AC/DC is the cover band. I was in a Doors cover band, and everybody else in the band kept saying, "No, we're not a cover band." I'm like, dude, look at our set list. It's like 80% Doors. We're a Doors cover band.
Dude, I was in a Nine Inch Nails cover band without being in a Nine Inch Nails cover band. Let me explain it. I was in a band and we were writing our own original material, but the lead singer looked dead up like Trent Reznor and every day wore a Nine Inch Nails shirt. Like the dude modeled himself to be Trent Reznor.
Well, that's what he wanted.
Yep.
Uh,
So I think
well,
that's pretty much all we got then tonight. I think it sounds like you're out of steam.
I got a little further in watching Ernest Goes to Jail. I seem to be watching this in pieces.
It's that bad, huh?
It's not that it's bad. It's just, when you watch so much Ernest, you just kind of get your fill of it.
Yeah.
And it's, it's really hard, even if it's a good movie, because it's supposed, like I said, like all the reviews say that it's supposed to be the best one.
Mm.
And also, it's the only one without kids.
Well, I
Like,
hope so if they're in jail.
Well, I mean, it's the only one from Disney without kids, because when he goes to the army and also in Africa. And
There's kids in the
oh,
army.
there's one kid in the army one. There's
Okay.
one kid in the army one. But yeah, it's so yeah, that's all I've been really doing. And then like I had fun with the internet this morning.
Mm-hmm.
I get up early, planning to go in early because normally I show up at 8:30 and most people show up at 8 o'clock for service. And I'm like, I'm going to show up at 8 just like everybody else does.
Mm-hmm.
And my internet is out. So I'm like, okay, so I spent like half an hour trying to fix it, get absolutely nowhere. But I'm like, well, now I'm going to be like on my regular time when I normally show up. And I get home and I got like a handful of network cables that I took from work. And I ended up finding
So
out that,
you stole from work.
yes,
You stole from a church.
yes.
You're gonna want a glass of ice water before you go where you're going, buddy.
No, it's okay though.
Okay.
Everything's fine.
That just raises the question: if somebody steals a Bible, is that a bad thing?
We wouldn't even notice if they stole a Bible from us. We have so many.
But I mean, if that's a question that you always got to ponder. If someone steals a Bible and they read the Bible, and that reading the Bible converts them, was it bad that they stole the Bible?
If it makes you feel any better, most of these cables I donated anyway, so they are my cables. I'm just taking
Okay.
them.
Well, I it's that's on you. You
Yeah.
know, actually, that's on you with the whole world knowing at this
Well,
point.
that's the understanding I follow with that place is if I bring something in, if I need it back, I could just take it back because I brought it in.
Yeah.
As long as we're not using it. If someone's using it, then that's different. I'm not going to take it off of something because it's mine.
So like, who stole the pulpit?
Well, see, like no one was using it at that moment. Took someone's iPad. No, I'm just kidding. No one was using it. I didn't see anybody. Nobody's name was on it.
The cross of the building's gone.
I just have so many cables that I've brought over there, like over the years. But like in return, like when I need a cable, I will look through my cables, and then I'll go to the church and I'll look through the church's cables too, and then just like kind of like to me, it's community type of thing. And if somebody says something, I'll order one and I'll just replace it. It's not a big deal to me. It's just getting it today instead of me ordering it and waiting 3 days for it to show up.
Or if you have Amazon Prime, waiting for until tomorrow by 10 p.m.
Depending what cable you're getting.
Yeah.
Sometimes it is 3 days. Because I was talking about Amazon Prime. Sometimes I am waiting 3 days because it's a specialty cable or, they don't make them anymore. Or I'm just playing around. I'm like putzing through my Xbox here, looking through the sales at the Xbox store. There are no free games on the Xbox store, but I do have a way where you can save a lot of money and get yourself set up on Game Pass.
Okay.
And do you want me to go over it?
Sure. Do you want the jingle for the extension to the help you save? Because I can actually show the deal of the week, which is something that I picked up today for Super.
Actually, you might be able to help me with what I'm going to be doing here. Okay, so if you want to do a jingle, do it now, and then I'll jump into my way of saving on the Xbox Game Pass.
Okay. What genre do you like? What do you want to play? Let me help you save on what you've got to pay. Ben style.
Woohoo! All right. So this is a little known trick. Okay, in order for this to work, your Game Pass subscription has got to be done. You can't have an active subscription to Game Pass. You could have an active subscription to Gold, but you can't have the Ultimate. This is not like just Game Pass. This is Xbox Ultimate. So what you're going to do is you're going to go and find the cheapest place you can to get Xbox Game Pass to get Xbox Gold time. You want to get you can do up to 3 years. So you want to max out your thing to as much as 3 years as possible on Xbox Gold. And I'm saying Gold is pretty cheap, is a lot cheaper to find than the other plan. I think Gold's like $5 a month is the regular price versus 15 to get the Ultimate. But this is how you do this. So you go and you get yourself set up with 3 years of Xbox Gold or as close to it as you can get. Getting either 3-month cards, 1-year cards, 1-month cards, whatever you could find. Try to find the cheapest way to do it. This is why I was saying Mike may be able to help you find the cheapest way because maybe he knows something I don't. Because there are websites for this. Once you're loaded up to that, look up for. There's a special that they run at Xbox where you can go and change your Xbox Gold time over to Ultimate for $1.
Nice.
It only works the first time you do it. The second time you do it, you have to pay more, but I'll get to that in a second. So you pay $1, and it takes all your Xbox Gold time, converts it to Xbox Ultimate, allowing you to access the Game Pass. And it stays for the same amount of time you have. You have it for 3 years or whatever. You will get 3 years of time.
Mm-hmm.
If you've done this already, you have to pay for a full month of Xbox Ultimate, which is $15. But it'll do the same thing. It will take all your Xbox Gold time and convert it over to Ultimate.
Gotcha.
So that's how you save money on it. It's literally you're upgrading your plan, and they're allowing you to do it for the price of 1 month, which is, like I said, if you've never done it before, the first month is $1. Mm-hmm. So, and that wraps that up. I'm sorry there was no graphics to go along with it, and I did it over a year ago. So if it doesn't work anymore, I'm sorry, but a year ago this trick still worked. I did this twice. So.
Well, I just wanted to share this because I didn't do this a year ago. I did this about 8 hours ago. Just wanted to share you a good deal that I came across today off of CD Keys, and that was this game right here, Killer is Dead. It was back, I think it actually came out around the PS3 time. Here's your Steam key if you want to pick this up. Normally a $20 game, only $1.59. I picked it up, so if you're curious about it, you're really losing $1.59, and that's probably like about 4 minutes of working time.
Now, what was the name of that website you showed us last week? That was Cheap Shark?
Cheap Shark, yes. Here, you know what? Now that you mention it, let's bring it up. Let's go to Cheap Shark, and I'm going to go ahead and share my screen once again. And there it is. There's Cheap Shark. And let's do this. Let's put that game in. Killer is Dead. This does not pick up CD keys. Oh, here you go. You can get it for $2.69 off of Indie Gala again. Other places are selling it for its regular price of $19.99. And you can just, if you find one you want, you can just click the link. It'll open up the browser directly to that page so that you can just go ahead and purchase it that way. So what's another game that you're curious about, Ben?
Well, I just looked up Not for Broadcast.
Okay, I've never heard of that one.
Yeah,
So
not
let's bring it up so people can see it. Not for broadcast.
yes.
Okay. So here's not for broadcast. It looks like there's quite a bit of them, which means it probably has some DLC.
Yeah, there is some DLC.
Okay, so not for broadcast. If you're looking for the regular version, here's your pricing. It looks like you could pick this up off of GOG at the best price for $6.24.
How much is the complete edition?
The complete edition. So do they have the complete edition on here? Oh, yes, they do. $9.99 for the complete edition off of GOG. Or you can pick it up off Epic for $40.
Oh, also shows you the cheapest ever was $9.93. That was on June 5th, 2024.
Exactly.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's very
cool.
So
definitely bookmark this page when you're looking for deals on games. Now, keep in mind if you're going through this is going to pull it from the third-party sellers. Is it third-party sellers or resellers or however you want to say it? So I don't think you can go through a normal Steam refund if you need to refund it. So kind of be careful there.
And that's, I think we're done.
I think we're done here. So
this was a bonus episode anyways. That's why I released all the stuff that we were supposed to come out today. I released it all on Friday. And I'm like, why don't I just do it now? I still haven't done the video for Vampire Girl versus Frankenstein Girl because I've
noticed.
Yeah, it's the whole fact of having to do it.
Yeah, I'm highly waiting for that one to come around.
The Ernest ones were easy, and I just did them back to back.
Yeah. I didn't see the one. Did you do Ernest Goes to Africa already?
I haven't put it on Instagram yet. It's up on TikTok. Everywhere I put it, it's a hit.
Okay.
People love this video. Anytime there's anything controversial, and you're like, oh, something racist might happen. All of a sudden, people want to watch it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like
I noticed that Breakfast at Tiffany's has been getting a good steady amount of hits on YouTube.
Yeah, people like that one. People like the Breakfast at Tiffany one. They like the Africa one. The camp one is not so much. People don't really care. The camp one, like, it got a like, which is more than what I could say about the other ones. But
which was probably me.
It might have been you. Yeah, it's.
I don't know.
This not for broadcast game. Do you want me to talk about it real quick?
Sure. I just wanted to add, if you thought Breakfast at Tiffany's was doing great, wait till Vampire Girl versus Frankenstein Girl hits, and it's just gonna explode.
Dude, I now see Breakfast at Tiffany's in a whole different way after our conversation.
Yeah.
Because now I see it's like, oh my god, yeah, she's like this gigantic manipulator.
Mm-hmm. She's psychotic, dude. She's Holly Golightly. She should really be Holly go to the psychiatric ward.
I know. I wasn't like, because like I used to be like, oh, she's so pretty, she's so demure, she's so this, she's so that, and now it's like, and I can still think of Audrey that way, but the character is just fucking batshit crazy.
Mm-hmm. Rob Halford wrote a song about her. Did you know that? Rob Halford from Judas Priest, he wrote a song in his band Fight that goes, "It's all right. It's all right. It's all right. I'm just a little crazy." And it's all about Breakfast at Tiffany's.
Oh, I think it's all about Holly Golightly.
Yeah, true story. It's all about Holly Golightly. All right,
well, you know what's not about Holly Golightly is this game called Not for Broadcast. Not for Broadcast is a simulator in a way, kind of, sort of. You are the board runner of a television studio. You run this video switcher during the news. And I think anybody who is looking into getting some broadcasting experience, it might be a good game to play. It's currently on sale. You just saw it for GOG. I'm currently looking at it at the Xbox store for $6.24. My recommendation, pay the $6.99 and get it for computer, because this is really a game that a mouse is it's much better to have a mouse than to have a controller in your hand. This is a lot of pointing and clicking. And the game is you are running the news, and you just got to make sure you pick the right shots, and also if they're swearing, that you mute this you mute the swearing. That's why it's a simulator type of game.
Yeah.
And you're just trying not to get yelled at by your boss. Is really what you're doing. There's a whole side thing in there too, where the country that you're in is going through like a rebellion, I guess, and you get to see that happen on the news. I wonder if anybody ever did the skit idea that I had, where they would be doing the news and they're all like into the current leader, and then in the middle of the news the leader changes and the news changes on the right on the spot, like all of a sudden the lighting changes and everybody starts saying, instead of this guy's an idiot, oh, he's the greatest guy ever, and the other guy's an idiot.
Well, if you think about it, you're actually going to see that happen in about 40 minutes out there. No, and actually, you've already changed time, haven't you? So it's past midnight there.
Yeah, no, the president gets sworn in at noon.
Yes.
So
I'm just saying you're on the day that he gets sworn in.
Yeah, so we still
And
have
I'm not.
We still have 11 hours and 49 minutes or 39 minutes according to my clock here, of the current administration.
Yes. Crazy. World's crazy.
Well, they're doing all these farewells and everything, and it's like, people, how is it going to be remembered, or are they just going to think that Trump was just president for 12 years and the 4 years in the middle sucked?
Yeah. It's kind of interesting. Has there been a situation where there was a president and then we had another president and the previous president came back? Because I'm just thinking about, like down the line, like 200 years into the future, when people are reviewing the presidents that we had, they're going to see this, and they're going to see, Trump, then Biden, then Trump again. And they're going to think, wow, this Biden, must have been really bad. That they're like, bring back the last one.
It did happen before. I had to look it up because I don't remember the name, but it was Grover Cleveland. He was the 22nd and the 24th president of the United States.
Gotcha. Interesting.
So Donald Trump is the 45th and will be the 47th president of the United States.
Yes.
So that's we're in. Let me see here. I'm going to see who he lost to. Because he ran for re-election and then he lost, but then I guess the person who took over must have done a horrible job.
Yeah.
He won both the popular vote in 1892. That's so funny. I don't see any mention of who he lost to.
Wait, so who was the president then in between them?
That's what I'm saying. I'm looking for that right now. Let's see, Glover.
So the 23rd.
He was preceded by. Okay, so was it first time in office? I'm trying to see if I can remember.
Benjamin Harrison was the 23rd.
Chester Arthur? No. I'm trying to read. Oh, I'm reading. Yeah, this is President of the United States from 1893 to 1897 and 1885 to 1889. So first it was it was Chester A. Arthur, then him, and then Benjamin Harrison. Yeah, so Benjamin Harrison was the guy in the middle. Did Benjamin Harrison do anything? He was Union Army veteran. From Ohio, went to Miami University in Oxford, Ohio. There's a Miami University in Oxford, Ohio at the time. It might still be there.
Well, it looks like the 24th presidential race was Grover Cleveland versus James G. Blaine. So perhaps he's like, I don't want to do this anymore, or something happened because he didn't run again.
Hey, maybe people were like, dude, you got to do this again. We can't do this without you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to have this job back. I was happy being in my mansion, looking over my estates, and now I got to come back and serve you fucking people.
So on that note, next week is going to be an exciting episode. We're going to have a topic. I know what the topic is, but that's it.
Yeah.
We'll all find out on the moment what the topic is. Then after that, first week of February, February 2nd, is going to be. I was thinking of doing the shows that disappeared too soon. And then the February 9th is going to be our Valentine's Day episode where we will be doing same, different, and watching Sabrina and Gothic and Lolita Psycho, which is actually ironic because it's a dual same, different technically, because not only are we doing something that's the same as another movie, we're not watching the other movie that we normally do and just doing the one that's different. But on top of that, it's the same as what we watched on the last one, where we put these two together, where we had Breakfast at Tiffany's and Vampire Girl versus Frankenstein Girl. It's the same. Both the movies are the same style as those movies, but they're different.
Yeah. So if you're following along at home, the Sabrinas we're doing is the one with Audrey Hepburn, and then the one with Greg Kinnear. So that one obviously came out in the 60s. Actually, it might have been late 50s, and the other one came out in the 90s. And one is better than the other. But which one? We'll find out. And what was the other movie?
And then the other movie we're doing Gothic and Lolita Psycho, and that's going to be the Japanese version in it. So it's going to be the one with Japanese people because that's the only version there is.
Okay. Unless we went and made our own.
Yeah, but I don't think we can capture the magic that's in this movie.
Well, from all of us to all of you, good night, everybody.
And we're out.